Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, Simply Maggie. If you are new here, I teach all things arm knitting and yarn related and some other DIY things here and there. And I come out with videos on a weekly basis. And also, if you are new here, please click that little subscribe button down there, and that way you won't miss out on any future videos that I come out with. So today what I'm going to be teaching you is how to arm knit, how to hand crochet a blanket. And this is a video I came out with years ago, and I had a lot of requests to refilm it in a lighter colored yarn, which is what I'm bringing you today. So I got you guys. I hear you, I read all your comments, and I do my best to give you good quality videos. So yes, I'm going to teach you how to hand crochet, or some people call it finger crochet, a chunky blanket today, and I think you guys are just gonna love it. We're gonna get right into what you're going to need. The yarn that I'm gonna be using is the LionBrand Wool-Ease Thick and Quick yarn, one of my favorites for super bulky yarns. It's durable and I don't know, it's just good quality yarn. So the color I am using is Fisherman. It's like a creamy white color, and I'm going to be using a total of 12 skeins. Now the reason it's so many skeins is because I'm going to be using 3 strands at one time, and that way the holes aren't too large and it just makes a nice looking finished product. So let's get right into the tutorial. Okay, so like I said, this is the yarn that we're going to be using today, the LionBrand Wool-Ease Thick and Quick. And this is a number 6 super bulky yarn, and it's in the color Fisherman. So what I've done here is I already pulled a strand from the center of 2 of my skeins, and I'm going to show you how I do that. Just go ahead and remove the wrappers from all of your skeins. And I like to pull from the center because it does help and the fact that the skeins aren't going to be flopping and rolling all over the place. So you can pull from either end. Sometimes it's tricky to find the strand in the center and you'll have to pull out like a little clump of yarn. And other times it's really easy and you get lucky and it's right there on the end. I'm just going to pull from this side. And you're just going to put all 3 strands together as if they are one strand. And the next step that you're going to do now that you have your 3 strands is make a slip knot. So I like to drape the yarn over my hand, all 3 strands, and then you're going to pinch all the strands together under your hand, insert all your fingers, then you're going to twist that away from you and grab all the strands and pull them through that loop to create a slip knot. So now that you have your slip knot, you're going to make a chain of 30. I like to use mainly my index finger and my thumb on my right hand. And then on my left hand, with my left hand, I like to hold the working yarn, which is the strands that are attached to the skeins. So I like to hold the working yarn with my left hand here and kind of use my finger to direct the yarn and keep it in one spot. So we're going to kind of hold that tail. This is just the tail. We're not going to use that. We're going to kind of hold that out of the way. So now that you have the working yarn on your left hand, whatever way is comfortable for you to hold it, and you have your index finger and your thumb in this little loop here. So what I like to do is kind of hold on to that first little slip knot there, and then you're just going to grab the working yarn and pull through to create another loop. Okay, so that was a chain 1. Insert your fingers again, grab the working yarn and pull it through. That's chain 2. Again, chain 3. And make sure you're keeping each of the chains pretty much the same size. Mine is probably 1.5 inches. Okay, so that was chain 3, chain 4, chain 5, chain 6, and you're just going to continue doing that until you have a chain of 30. 28, 29, and 30. So after I have my chain of 30, what I like to do is just kind of pull on it to lengthen all the stitches. Now this chain here is going to be the width of your blanket. So if you wanted to have a wider blanket, you would just make a longer chain. Alright, so now that you have your chain of 30, we are going to begin hand crocheting our blanket and creating the actual rows to make the length of our blanket. So we are going to again use our index finger as the crochet hook, and I'm going to use my left hand and just kind of keep the yarn in between my two fingers there to keep it in place so it's not kind of like all over the place, and it gives you a little bit of tension. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go into this chain right here. If I can show you this one right here. So you have the one on your fingers, and then this one here, we're going to go into that one and insert your index finger and grab the working yarn and pull it up. So now that you have 2 loops on your fingers, and then you're going to go through again and grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 to create your stitch. So now you have 1 loop on your fingers. I'll show you that again. So now we're going to go into the next one, this one here, and do 1 single crochet. This whole blanket is just going to be single crochet. It's super easy. Insert your index finger through that loop, hook it onto the working yarn, grab the working yarn and pull it through so you have 2 loops on your fingers. Okay, and this is where I like to use my thumb also, so I just insert it through there and grab the working yarn and pull it through both loops. And you're going to do that again. Insert your index finger through that loop, grab the working yarn and pull it through. So now you have 2 loops on your fingers, and then you're going to insert your thumb, whoops, and try not to keep it too tight. If you keep it too tight, it'll be a little bit harder to work with. Insert your thumb, grab the working yarn, and pull up a new loop. And I'll show you a few more, and then I'm going to continue doing that on the rest of my row. So insert your index finger into this loop here, and then you're going to insert it through that stitch there. Grab the working yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on your fingers, and grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. Now we're going to go through this one here, pull it through, just like a crochet hook. And you don't have to know how to crochet to do this either. You can just kind of learn as you're going here. Pull the working yarn through. Now you have 2 loops on your fingers. Pull the working yarn through those 2 loops. And now I'm going to continue doing the rest of my row here, and then I'll show you how to do row 2. Now you can also keep your thumb in this stitch here at all times. That way it doesn't accidentally pull tight, making it harder to work. Okay, so now I'm coming up on my last few stitches here. So I want to show you, you want to make sure you don't miss the last stitch on the end. So we have this one here. And the next one. This one. So now that I have crocheted my last stitch here, what you want to do is chain 1. So you're just gonna insert your fingers, grab the working yarn, and pull it up to chain 1. And now we're going to turn our work. So we're just gonna flip it around here and turn our work so that the blanket is now on this side, and we can continue knitting our next row on the top of this work here. So we have our fingers in the chain 1, and now on second row you want to make sure you go into the second stitch from your fingers. So you have your fingers in this chain, and then you don't want to go into this here, this little hole right here. You don't want to go into that one. you want to go into this one right here. So if you can see that, my fingers are here. You don't want to go into this one, you want to go into this one. Okay, so we're going to insert our fingers into a single crochet. So put your finger through the stitch here, and you're going to want to make sure that you go under all of these strands here. So see how this stitch here, the stitch is this V. You want to make sure you go under all of those strands. So insert your finger under all those strands, grab the working yarn and pull it up. Now you have 2 loops on your fingers, and then you're going to grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. Okay, that was your first one. And you're going to do that again. See all of these strands here? You want to make sure you go through all of those there. Take your index finger and go into that next stitch there, grab the working yarn and pull it through. There's 2 loops on your fingers. Grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. Make sure you have the 3 strands at all times and you haven't dropped them anywhere. And the nice thing about when you're crocheting is if you end up messing up, like say you accidentally dropped a strand in the last stitch and you just noticed it, you can just pull this apart and go back to where you need to fix your work and just pick up the stitch. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a few more stitches in the second row, and then I'll show you how to do the third row. So you just make sure you go under all those strands through that hole, and you're going to grab the working yarn. You have 2 loops on your fingers, and then you grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. Okay, here's your next stitch. Insert your finger, use it as the hook and pull up that yarn. You have 2 loops on your fingers. Grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. I'll show you one more. Through that stitch, pull up the yarn, 2 loops on your fingers, grab the yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. Remember to keep all your stitches somewhat the same size. Alright, now I'm going to continue all the stitches on my second row, and then when I'm done I will show you how to start your third row. Okay, so now that I'm coming up on the last few stitches of my row, I will show you how to end your second row and then start your third row. So I wanted to show you that you want to make sure you don't skip this last stitch on the edge here. Get this one. And then there is one more stitch here that you have to go through to make sure you keep a symmetrical blanket. So just go through there, pull your working yarn through those 2 loops. And same thing as row 1, we are going to make a chain 1. So pull up that working yarn to make a chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work so that now the project is on this side, and we can go ahead and crochet our third row. Okay, so row 3 is going to be the same as row 2. You just want to make sure you start your row in this second stitch from your fingers. So you don't want to go into this one here. You want to go into this stitch here, this hole where my middle finger is. So go ahead and insert your finger into that stitch, grab the working yarn and pull it up so you have 2 loops on your fingers, and then grab the working yarn and pull it through those 2 loops. And then you want to go into the next stitch, another single crochet into that stitch, and you're just going to continue doing that across your entire third row. Now I'm going to continue crocheting my entire blanket. When I run out of these 3 skeins, I will show you how to attach your next 3 skeins. And then after that, I will show you how to end your blanket. I have run out of my first 3 skeins there, and I want to add on my next 3. As you run out of the first 3, you'll notice that all 3 strands will be a different length. So just go ahead and trim those up so that they're all the same length. And then grab your 3 strands from your next 3 skeins. And then you're just going to tie a double knot. All 6 strands together. Pull that really tight. And then go ahead and trim the excess. Okay, and then you can just continue crocheting as you were before. And that's it. It's that easy. So go ahead and finish your blanket until you are just about out of yarn, and then I will show you how to end your blanket. Alright guys, so I am on row 46, and this is how much yarn I have left here. So I'm going to go ahead and end my blanket on this row. So I have a couple more stitches here to do in this row, and then I will show you how to end your blanket. So once you get to your very last stitch here on your last row, you're going to just do a slip stitch. And what that means is you're going to grab the working yarn and pull it through, and then you're going to pull that right through that last stitch that was on your fingers. Okay, so that's called a slip stitch. And then I like to cut my yarn probably about 6 inches away so that I can weave in my ends, and then just pull it all the way through, and that'll make a nice tight knot on the end. And then whichever side you want, you just go ahead and weave these through so that it's nice and secure and it won't come undone. So I'm just going to go ahead under here, and then I'm going to do a knot, make a knot right under here, if you can see. So I'm going to pull that through there a little bit. I'm going to pull it through again, and then I'm going to pull it through all the way like that, and then you can go ahead and cut the excess. You can just weave it through and not make a knot, but I feel like if you're going to be washing the blanket and using it a lot, it just makes it that much more secure. And that's it. You're all done. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other requests for videos, please let me know. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I do read all of your comments, and I try to get back to you as quickly as I can and help you guys out as much as I can. If you'd like, you can go head over to my blog, Simply Maggie, and I have tons of other DIY projects on there that are so easy, affordable, and I teach most of them with step-by-step videos just like this one that I brought to you today. So go take a look at that. That's it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.